You got 10 seconds to figure out what is the main difference between these two images. Okay, time's up. The difference between the two is that the first one has better values than the second one. But if you're looking for the main difference, the first one has Waldo hiding in it. You might be wondering, what are values? Well, values refer to the lightness or darkness of the tones in a piece. Depending on how you use them, you can pretty much control the eyes of your audience and force their eyes to look at a certain direction. And some of you may ask,
what sorcery is this?
No sorcery.
How I usually like to describe it to people is that values help your art look more comprehensible, and it guides the eyes of the viewers to wherever you want, depending on if you use it properly.
What do you mean by that?
Here's an example. You see this white blank screen? Now, even if I add a tiny dot, that's what your eyes will gravitate towards. It's the same thing reversed too. Although color will be discussed in another video, the same thing can be said for colors too. So, you can use the same concept in your art to make certain things stand out more. I found this really cool Pinterest image that kind of blew my mind. If you have your lights and shadows drawn in your piece already, you can choose to focus more on one or the other to give the illusion that something is either brighter or darker than it actually is. And now you might be thinking, okay, but I don't care about values. Well, I didn't either when learning values in university, but I realized years later that it was necessary to improve my art. You might recognize this shaded circle. This is the bane of my existence. The amount of shaded shapes and fruits I had to draw was criminal. But the problem was that I was told to draw all of these, and I didn't even realize what was the point of the exercises. They never explained it to us, and it was an 8 a.m. class. So I was probably sleeping. It's now that I realize how understanding the different textures, values, and how they interact with light was the purpose of those exercises. Shifting your values can change a bland 2D looking piece to look like a more interesting and realistic piece. Hey, don't you dare say, but I don't draw realistically. Bruh, me neither. But even anime uses these methods, and that's how you know it's legit. For me, the best method to learn a certain material is to apply it to an artwork and not just to study. For some reason, it just helps me remember more if I do a whole artwork rather than countless studies. But do whatever is easiest for you. After all, everyone learns differently. I'm just showing you what worked best for me. If you are curious on testing out your values on some of your old art, you can always add a black layer in the color mode to show the values of your piece. But instead of switching it on and off constantly, what people usually do is, you might have seen a lot of artists use Grayscale, and that is kind of like a cheat code to get all your highlights, midtones, and shadows in before adding your color. Most of you probably jump right into coloring and shading at the same time. I mean, I used to do that too, but the tricky thing is that there are some darker and brighter colors, so this might mess up your values in the long run. Whereas if you start in black and white, it's much easier to just focus on the values and then add the colors later. When you're done your grayscale drawing, I found that you can add color to it in two different ways. The first way is to have the grayscale layer be the main layer to your drawing. Then, add your colors on overlay above the grayscale. But I'm not the biggest fan of this method since when you keep layering the overlays on top of each other, the more you add on top of each other, the more they change. I mean, unless you're into that, you might prefer this method instead. The second option you can do is to have all your colors below on a normal layer and add the grayscale on top on multiply. What is good about this is that you can easily change your colors below, and if you want, you can also change the color of your grayscale to later fit the vibe you're trying to get. So instead of just having it black and white, you can just add the color of your choice. And voila! If you don't even know how to start your drawing, then you should probably start by checking out my sketching video. Besides that, my Patreon and all my other socials are down below. I also have a Discord, so feel free to join that if you want to share your art or just talk to some fellow weebs and artists. Lastly, I want to give a special thanks to my Patreon members, Kofi Johnson and Adam Fox, for supporting me say nonsense online with cool edits. You guys are great. See what I did there? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. Anywho, have yourselves a lovely day. Bye, bye, bye,